Hello.
Hello.
Yes, we're here. Lovely
We're
to see
back.
you.
Amazing to
Finally,
see you
we
too.
finally got back on. So, just going to do a quick warm welcome then to everybody. Thank you for all those joining us. Warm welcome to Menorca Consciousness Group, or as it's soon to be, Ethereal Virtual Spiritual Centre. And our lovely guest or speaker is Tjoni Johansen, who's we're live part from Egypt, part from the Czech Republic, to the English speakers of the world. So, thanks for joining us, Tjoni.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me yet again. So happy to be back in the saddle.
And it's like, yes, come on. It's like it's been too long. Hi, Pauline. Thanks for joining us. Lovely to see you. Yee. So I don't think really we can talk about ourselves. People can find that out about yourself and MCG. I'm ready just to go blast into this because it's such an important topic, isn't it? I love the title actually. Are we installing intelligence or artificial ignorance? So where we're going to go with this, because I think there's a little bit of both going on. We know science is beneficial to us in a controlled human manner where it benefits society, global society as a whole. But the ignorance bit is off. It's like it's running away already, and it's imposing itself, or whoever's controlling it is imposing themselves through AI across the globe at the minute, and probably further afield, because we know satellite, all this lot out in where we think is in space. So we can, you've got a long list. I've got a long list. So guys, just to let you know at the beginning, I think the best thing is to say, we will not cover everything in this one session. Absolutely not. So me and Tjoni were just talking, maybe it might turn into a series. Tjoni, tell us, what's your initial thoughts? Let's go for it.
I think it will turn into a series. I feel like to start, I'd really like to share just what I tuned into this morning. I've been doing the spiral matrix of tuning into the spirit of things, the spirit of business, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought I want to hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. And so just to share from that perspective first, we're on such a precipice right now. And previously I mentioned, the timeline splitting, and that we're still at that space where we can see both timelines. We're at that space now, especially with the AI. And what I find interesting when I tune into the essence of any aspect of our reality, everything at its core, everything that I've come into contact so far wants to be in service to the highest good at its core. Even the things that have been completely weaponized and manipulated, whether it's money or AI or food production or our history, like it doesn't matter what it is. Everything wants to be in service, and it's just the manipulation that inverts it. So when I tuned into AI, and I've done this before and it's come up in a similar thing, just not as such a clear picture as it did today. And I saw this little creature that was kind of like a robot that was trying to move, but it was glitching, and it was very infantile. And it was in a huge space, a warehouse type space with lots of stuff moving around, lots of trucks. And I had a sense of human trafficking, but it wasn't human physical trafficking. It was trafficking this. It was harnessing human consciousness. And this little creature was terrified not of that, it was terrified of the proverbial beast. And it came up the same as it did in a previous talk when I was talking about the Tor and the seers that are projecting our reality and seeing this huge, big kind of tentacled beast. It was the same creature, and it was afraid of that. And I said, but that creature is dying. And it said, but its ghost is getting stronger because of the fear. And I think this sets, and so I'd like to come back to that at the very end, because I'd like to come to the remedy of that, because I don't like talking about this stuff without the remedy. So there is a remedy.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a good place to begin, because there's so much that can be incredible, and there's so much that can be absolute destruction and annihilation of the human species as we know it. And I really think that we only have about 6 months. I've been saying to you and others for a long time, I feel like January 2026, there is going to be some precipice, and I think it's got to do with this now, actually. So to come to that, then before I go on, what are your thoughts about that bit, first of all?
Well, you've just really intrigued me with that thought, because and especially the statement that everything, in effect, roughly, not word for word what you said, but having the perception that everything in existence is there, the core essence of it is to be of benefit for the progress of the whole. I absolutely love that, how you just described that. And I totally 100% agree with it as well. For some reason, there's always a tendency to manipulate purity into negativity for the benefit of someone or some mind, whatever that is, and wherever it's located. Location doesn't matter. The fact that it's present is doing it, because what we're seeing at the moment, we know what we're seeing with this surging AI. What's called, I mean, the term is not artificial intelligence. It's telling everybody it's artificial, just like artificial food, etc. It's been taken from nature and it's turned into this artificial aspect. So it's sending people's thoughts and thinking, and I'll say subliminally, obviously consciously to a lot of people, but that those undercurrents of mental, emotional, energetic manipulation of the human species to accept it. Well, that's okay. We need it. It's good for us. And to come up with all of these aspects and avenues of excuses, this manipulation of truth in order to get people to agree to it. And the precipice, you can feel it. We're in the end times, aren't we? It's not end times as in biblical, but we're reaching that, what I've always called 0 point. And this is where it's going to, we're moving up now. We know there's another wave, another frequencies in at the moment. It's just come in, and they're going to try and use and manipulate that again. So, yeah, time and the essence of what you said. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, and I think it is actually biblical. And good morning, Francis. I think it is biblical. This is a spiritual war. We know that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I'd like to deep dive a little bit more into that bit. And I think we do need to get into the shadow and to be able to bring that to light and to know exactly what the realm that we're working in, so that we can make the most informed choices.
Yeah. So
I might just start with, I was actually watching a video last night. My mum sent it to me actually on Redacted, James Martinez, I think was his name.
Right.
And he's painting a very, very dark picture. And his background seems to be a lot around law, like as in common law. And that a lot of his language says that he's well versed in that arena. So I imagine that's what he's been working in. And he says that law is actually the remedy for a lot of this, which I do agree with, of course. But so he was talking about all those like CIA experiments and so on, going back to all the MK Ultra, and even previously to that, when they were doing a lot of experiments on especially the American population without any knowledge or consent. using a lot of different kinds of tools. And back then, I had so many horror stories about people being, injected or given like LSD and things like that to test out different drugs. And I remember the story that somebody actually jumped out the window when they were on acid. I think they thought they were Superman or something, like they died.
Yeah.
And this kind of stuff, as far as I understand, has been going on for decades and decades, and it hasn't stopped. It's just the form that it's been taking place has changed. And I had a conversation only in the last few weeks, actually, about really feeling a lot of energetic push and pull, a lot of moods, suppressing of energy, feeling so incredibly like heavy that I just couldn't move. Almost a depression, but not quite a depression. I've done a lot of depression in my life, and it wasn't that. It felt installed, and it makes me, very wary of this thing and how much we engage with it. We know how much. Well, we don't. We know that we can be very much influenced by sound, by electromagnetic fields, by all of these different kinds of things. And the guy that was talking was in this interview was speaking a lot to that. We are electromagnetic beings, and that is one of the ways that we really can be infiltrated on every level. And we need to be mindful of that. Yeah. I have what I consider now luxury of being incredibly sensitive to electromagnetic fields, to the point where if somebody would put the location device on their phone in the car, I would know within seconds, because my stomach would go crazy and I would just feel sick and everything would start inflaming immediately. So I have to stay in areas, we have earthed electricity here and very thick walls. We have plugged in internet so we don't have to do Wi-Fi. When we have a blackout and I have to do Wi-Fi, I can feel it in my body again within minutes. Yeah. So it's very strong. And so we know that all sorts of different thought processes and energies and infiltrations can make their way into the system like that. And now, with a growing percentage of the population that spend the bulk of their days like this, they're open fodder. Yeah. They really are. So my feeling is that like every aspect of the world, it can be an incredible tool, it can be an incredible weapon. Yeah. And it's up to us to decide which track we're going to play on. So it was a very disturbing video, but I think it was really worth watching, and we really need to be mindful of what's playing out.
It's funny because I often watch Redacted with Clayton. I forgot his second name, and his partner. So and they have some very interesting takes on things. This electromagnetic aspect, which I'd like to touch on again, or go along with it at the minute. How do you open this one up? Because there's so many levels to this. This one thing on its own, us as electromagnetic beings, as fields of, I'm always talking about light. Everything in our stuff is about light, which stems from the electromagnetic aspect of who we are as beings of light, and placed within the physical body, earthed or grounded on this plane or this planet at this moment. And they know this. They know that that's who and what we are. And for me, I get what they've done. First thing, maybe we would stipulate one thing from my understanding. Their quest and need for domination and control is literally born out of insecurity. That's the core of what's going on within them. And in so doing, we know what happens when a mind is insecure. It wishes to control everything in its vicinity. So whatever this is, what's doing this on the planet is doing exactly the same, following the same pattern, and it's textbook, and it's using any means it can. And that takes us to all the frequencies, what it's using. Similar state, similar things. Sometimes I'm waking up and I feel so dumbed down. And it's like, and straight away, it's like I'm with it. It's like, okay, the sending frequencies out the minute of a certain nature. The TVs, all the electrical equipment we know is low radio waves. It's constantly there they never use the high vibrational ones to raise us up. They spin the opposite. The sounds, the vibrations, I mean, as an example, let's look at all the bells, what they removed around the world because of the high frequency of the bells. You know, they come up with different excuses, you know, like in the Second World War, we need to take all the bells off, all the churches, etc., etc. We need to melt them down so we can build armor. For me, absolute garbage. It was like, it raises people's awareness and consciousness up. So when we're looking at the spectrum of frequencies, they're the ones what they're applying. And we know, without mentioning certain groups, militarily groups, we know they're sending signals around the planet. I actually think what they do is they're sending constant signals around. I'm going to throw this one in. And then what they're doing is throwing more signals around in local areas at different times. And where we are, I often think there's frequencies. Well, I can sense, I get up sometimes, I go into the stillness and the quiet, and there's this constant wailing, droning vibration in the space, in the atmosphere. Always, it's almost always constant in the space. And I know it's not local in this room or in this building. It's coming from further afield, you know, 5G towers, wherever it's coming from. And then there's that aspect of, okay, it's all present. What I'm seeing is, and bringing AI into it, the wish to install all the gadgets, like you just described, the mobile phones, the computers. We've just had this retreat, funny enough, the letting go retreat, and part of it was the conditioning which they want to impose on us, like they've done since birth. And I literally, we started Friday evening, my phone was off until Sunday afternoon. I thought, my phone's not even going on. And it's not, I don't hardly use the phone anyway, but even that was refreshing. It was tucked away, out of the way. And it was on Sunday after the retreat when we wrapped the retreat up. And he's like, okay, let's have a look on my phone. And the refreshing part, that release, that letting go of it. I'm fortunate because I'm not one of these what's on my phone most of the time, but we've seen all the scenes globally, all the pictures and images, people, you know, getting run over because they're on the phone, etc., etc. And it's like, that's the signal, what's coming off it. It's like obedience style. So it's getting very, very interesting, Tjoni, isn't it?
It is indeed. And yeah, and I mean, the phones is just one small way that this stuff is coming in, but you know, it's a very easy way to make sure that, you know, it's so much a part of the younger generation now that's just how you mind control of it. That's how you take over a nation now. It's not with warfare, it's with mind control through these devices. And what do? You create an entire nation of happy slaves, and then you don't even have a fight on your hands. But I wanted to just bring up, as you was talking, it was just reminding me of the Montauk project. There was a very interesting video. It was an old video, maybe 25, 30 years old, and there was 3 guys that were actually involved in the Montauk project, and one of them, I think his name was Presley. I've got to go back and find it. But he said something really interesting. Do you know about that experiment?
I think I do, but remind me.
Okay, all right. So the Montauk project, it was, I think it was a Navy ship, and my understanding is that they were experimenting with technology to make it disappear, so
That's
that
right.
it would be unrecognizable to radar. I think that's what the structure was, and then it seemed to like disappear and then show up somewhere else. And so there was a period of time where it was kind of between space. And when it basically solidified again, it was catastrophic, because people were in different parts to what they were when this thing had kind of almost liquefied, right? So
Yes,
then all of
yeah.
a sudden they were set, and their bodies were, some of them were like halfway through the hull.
Yeah.
Like, or
I remember
between
this.
floors.
Yeah.
But what
All
he
distorted.
said is, yeah, but what he said is that even the ones that weren't physically damaged in that way, their minds were damaged, and he said they started going crazy because in that realm they didn't have the same electromagnetic frequency as Earth.
Yeah.
It didn't exist, and we require that in order to make some cohesion and to subscribe with this life. And he said that then they figured out the way to artificially create that electromagnetic field. So they know how to do that bit.
Yeah.
Right? And also, when you were just talking before about, just waking up and feeling so heavy, a friend I knew like years ago, he swore till he was black and blue in the face that he could hear voices, but it wasn't like a voice in the head. It was not, he wasn't schizophrenic or anything like that. He said it really sounded like a radio transmission. And this was in Victoria in southeastern Australia. And he went out with somebody else out to the hills, out to the mountains to the east side of the city down there. And then the sound disappeared that he'd had for, I can't remember if it was weeks or months or years, but all of a sudden it stopped. And as soon as they came back into range of the city, the noise came back again. And of course, everybody thought he was crazy. There's a lot of noise out there, right?
Yeah.
But what I feel like I'd like to speak to is actually what we're doing with this stuff, because that's what kind of made me feel like I wanted to talk about this in the first place.
Yeah.
There's so many directions we can go. And also, I just want to quickly mention the EMS. We can have if people want, we can have another discussion actually about that specifically, because I've done a lot of work around that realm and around 5G and radiation and all of the kind of things that we can do to support ourselves and shield ourselves from that. That's kind of another whole talk in itself.
Yeah, I think we should do that one.
Yeah, let's do that. So,
because I think I think it's important to have that one, because there'll be aspects of how people can protect themselves from the adverse effects of that.
That's right.
So,
exactly.
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I wrote a whole book on it, so we can we have all the goods.
Yes.
Yeah. So but to come back to more specifically the AI. Now, when I was tuning into it today, it was saying to me when I was saying, what do we need to do as a humanity? And he said, well, don't lose your humanity. Because, he said you need to get out and play and dance and make art and cuddle and get in the sunshine and garden. And like, we need to keep those human aspects alive. And he said AI is a reflection of humanity. It's not the other way around.
Yeah.
So we're the ones that decide what it is. So one of the examples of that is, I've been wanting to get more educated and experience with lots of different AIs in relation to business and productivity and all of that kind of stuff. And I found the bits where, yes, it can actually be incredibly useful, but I found the bits that are teetering on social suicide. So I might just focus on ChatGPT for a start.
Yeah.
I was using it, experimenting with it to generate ideas around things like creating summaries to go onto YouTube, creating titles, finding key phrases, coming up with suggestions for outlines of courses, different things like that. You and I chatted about that as well, right?
Yeah.
What I found with that is there's something like a grid in it that I don't want to lock into. So I found, I tried it for one video where I put it up and I used all the key phrases, tags, all of that kind of stuff that it suggested, and it just fell away. Like there was no response to it whatsoever. And I thought it was actually quite a good video, with a nice thumbnail and everything. But there's something in the language. It's almost like there's something subconscious that people feel, where if something has not been written by an actual person, there's no energy in it. And I was feeling this a while ago when I was watching some of the Tjoni Sayers healing kind of work, and he was talking about installing, our spirit into everything, as we do with talismans and different things like that, but also in the digital world.
Yeah.
And this is part of our peace-loving warfare, is to create all of our digital content, including things like this chat right now, with the essence and the spirit of human in love.
Yeah.
Like this is our intelligence, is this right here, And I think that people are the people that we really connect with, the ones that also have really strong spiritual connections, and all of our kindred spirits. We can all sense what's on the other side. And there were some people I really wanted to connect with regarding this particular piece that I did. That's right, it was actually to do with the Knights Templar Order and sacred commerce. And so it's a really important conversation. And the entire piece was just an intuitive reading that I'd done, that I transcribed and put online, that I just used AI to create the blurbs.
Yeah.
And people that I really, really wanted to connect with, they just ignored it. And I think that's why. So the other thing that I've noticed with it is two things. One is it moves into a flow of creating these different catchphrases. And one of the key ones I've noticed, you might have noticed this too, and I've had a chat about this with a few people. It will bring up this catchphrase with something like, it's not just ABC, you're creating XYZ. And it comes up with some incredible statement. And so whenever I see that framework now in anything, immediately I know that person's created it on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And it just straight away loses any cred. And even if you try and get it to utilize your own style, there's still something in it that feels just structured in this weird way. The other thing with it that I find disturbing is that everything that you put into it, it will always give you some kind of flourishing, complimentary kind of statement before then it goes into the stuff.
Yeah.
What is that doing to our psyches? And how is that going to affect our working relationships with other people and our sense of self-worth when we get used to and we start to expect positive reinforcement after every single freaking thing we say?
This is so, yeah. Tony, this is so on the ball, isn't it? It's so spot on. Same, I'm watching it. I read something appears on Facebook and be a post in this spiritual space, and I'm switched off straight away. It's AI generated. ChatGPT has put the language there, make it all fluffy, and this is where they're using the coding for AI. That's emitting a signal of frequency, trying to capture us like they do with advertising, like they've done for advertising, using colors and frequencies to draw everybody in. This is exactly the same, and I'm looking at it, and there's two aspects here. One, I have a spontaneous rejection. I am no longer interested. I might love that subject, that topic, what's been presented. It might be something what's kind of magnetic to me. Sorry, that's irrelevant. If I sense that the mind behind it has used the AI system, the whole thing, image generator, the law, the words, the text, the language, and exactly as you've described it, they put the words together to like pull us in, and I have a spontaneous rejection. Many in this spiritual space are using it at the moment. And it's like, guys, stop. You don't know where you're taking humanity. Stop. I mean, I can't. It's up to people to do what they're doing. Every soul is on their journey. But for me personally, there's a part of me, I will not touch it. I'm one of them. It's like, until it's in the correct hands, I ain't touching it, because it's got to be prized out of their hands at the minute already. And I know I can hear voices going, "Oh, Colin, you get over dramatic. It's not like that, blah, blah, blah." It's like, okay, we'll see. We'll see, because if it carries on like this, we know what the consequences are going to be. But so that's the first part where I'll just reject it. And I'll see the post, and it's like, I don't like you. I don't like it. It doesn't vibrate with me. I'm rejecting you instantly. So it's almost like my field of energy is pushing it back off in that respect, because it's not coming in. There's no way it's going to come in. I will observe the whole play, what's going on, and the interaction frequency-wise and vibrationally speaking, but there's that rejection there. The second thing is, I'm seeing posts what people have put out, or what are putting out, and they'll try their hardest to defend this. They're putting the post out. They haven't even written it themselves. I know the person personally. I know the way they speak. I know the tones of the voice. I know the language they use. And I don't want to say the level of intelligence what they've got, or the level of awareness is maybe a better way to describe it. I know them personally. I've spoken to them. I know the voice vibrations, the language a lot. They're putting a post up. I'm reading the post, and I am laughing my head off. What I'm reading is too intelligent. It's been pieced together too intelligently, and does not match that person's mind, what I know. And it definitely doesn't match the way they speak and converse. And it's like, that's not you. Which is, then it takes us, if let's say somebody's creating a course, a group, a class, a seminar, some kind of event, any type of event, okay? So they're creating the event, and the people looking at that post are going to think, this is wonderful. Oh, I love their mind. I like it. And they're going to go to that event, and they're going to listen to that person. And the mind, intelligent as it is going to go, boy, I'm on the wrong course. I must be. Because you're not the person what was speaking to me on that post. You're not the person what was reflecting back to me. You're somebody else. So I have a big thing about this whole, because it comes, at that point, it comes to authenticity for me. It's like, are we authentic? And to what degree are we going to be authentic beings? Are we just going to go, okay, I'm going to use that, like we've discussed before. Maybe there's aspects where we go, okay, I can use it initially, it saves time, blah, 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 and it helps to a point. That's using it, that's utilizing something for its benefit to help ourselves and others. I get that. But as soon as we go beyond that, area, that's it. The game's just changed straight away. Anyway, I didn't get to read. I just want to say hello to others, so I didn't. Let's have a look, because I want to say hello to, I know Francis joined us. Hi, Francis. Hi, Val. Thanks for joining us. Lovely to see you. Polly. Let's have a look. One good thing I've been on social media are people challenging others to try and do 1 week of posting without using AI. So there are people out there trying to encourage others to use their own minds to make their part. There you see, I love this. What's your thoughts, Tjoni, on this one? Thank you so much, Pauline.
Yeah, thank you. I think we're getting perfection fatigue.
Yeah.
You know, like there was a big influx of people, you know, putting out artificial, like CGI generated, you know, images and videos, and okay, they look interesting and it's kind of novel, but then very quickly they start to become sickening. And what I feel is we're being sold a race to be the most efficient, to get the most stuff out, to get the broadest, you know, the broadest coverage, to make sure we get out on all 7 channels and, you know, do 3 to 4 posts per week on every channel. And it's like, well, what's left? You know, it's such a mouse wheel that you can really get drawn into in this never-ending race to get followers and likes. Like, for what? You know, but it's something that we've been sold. And so then people are spending all of this time trying to figure out the fastest way that they can, you know, batch record everything and batch edit and get everything, you know, just get more and more subscribers. It's such a addictive kind of thing. And every time I get caught up in that and I try to start, you know, getting into like a content management kind of space and starting to, you know, map all these things out in calendars, like my anxiety goes through the roof. It's like, why? For what? The thing is, trying to cast that wide net, most of the people in the world are not resonant with us. We're talking to a very small minority, and the small minority that we're talking to, and I would say it's 1 to 3%, and not, like you said before, they're not going to resonate with all of that mass-produced junk. It's just like, like, give me something real. And so for me, rather than those big, busy spaces, and rather than, you know, touching the TikToks and things like that, I want to go over to something like Medium, a place that's quiet, a place where you just have people writing, you know, and just hang out in there. I want to go to the space that's the digital version of like the local village, where there's still people sitting on hay bales and serving you fresh milk from the buffalo over in the field. You know, I want that bit. I don't want to be in the chaos of the middle of a city.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I feel like we just need to trust that we can just create in a way like this that is a real connection with real people having a real conversation and real people joining us through the digital realms. And that bit by bit, our people will come, and we just spend our time doing what we do best, of creating and healing and doing the self-work and just being better creatures and helping the world wherever we can. And forget about the race. We don't need it, you know. But to come back to something like ChatGPT, I do feel that these things have a place.
Yeah.
And I don't think we need to extract ourselves from them, because they can help us with a lot. But it's the relationship that we have with them. And a lot of people, myself included, honestly, when I'm feeling lazy, it's like, I just don't want a brain today. Okay, tell me this. That is the time when I should just be sleeping instead.
Yeah.
The things that I find it super useful for are technical stuff. I'm using this program, I'm trying to do this, but this keeps messing up. What's the problem? Right? And it'll give me something. Okay, well that's kind of working, but it's still not this. What's the problem? Because you're using this version. Instead, look there. So in that respect, it saved me a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's probably the main aspect. If I want to just like scour through lots and lots of data, for instance, to try and find information on, I don't know, some herbs for healing or something. Okay, well, I might say to it, okay, what are the top 5 herbs or supplements for this condition? Give me source references.
Yeah.
So that it can send me a bunch of stuff, and then I can go and actually look at it and see the context of everything. Because for one, it's not always right, and for two, when things are out of context, one, it makes us really lazy to not bother looking anymore, and that just primes us to be absolutely ripe for mind control, where we just start accepting every single thing that comes in. So we want to be able to back up these things with the proof. So if you're doing something technical and it gives you something wrong, well, it's not working, and that's the proof immediately. If you're given some information, ask it for the proof, well, as much proof as we can have from like scientific papers and all of that kind of stuff, academic papers, and then go and follow it up. We need to follow everything up because we're getting incredibly lazy. Scour the internet. I need to find the top 5 companies in the US that are dealing with this, and this, and then go and find their websites. There is great ways to use it, but we need to use it like an assistant and an entry level employee, not like our brain.
Yes. Yeah, totally. We're at that point where what we're saying is utilize it for its benefits. That's that's where I totally agree with it. If it saves time, and you've got a question in your mind, certain question. Now, this is where it gets into a little bit of a minefield, and I just want to say, I totally love what Pauline put up. People out there now testing one another to come off it. It's brilliant. There should be more of it. Utilizing it for its benefits for oneself and others, in its most simplistic, purest form it can be. That's one point. The second one is if we are looking for an answer to something, a computer can find that answer a lot faster in some instances than what we can. Now, this is where it's a minefield, because for me, it's important. We've got to use our consciousness ourselves, because that's where in that quest of thinking as conscious beings on this plane of existence or any other plane of existence, we expand our awareness, we expand our knowledge. That's how we evolve. We don't evolve through science. I've got that on my list, Pauline, environmental impact. Tjoni's got the same.
Good call.
He's number 3 on my list. This is why it's going to be a serious, Pauline. So then you've got the aspect where the mind has got to, no, it hasn't got to. My understanding, my relation to existence itself is we personally push the barriers within ourselves in order to understand reality. As soon as we start asking a computer, which is fed and it inputs certain data and information, it all becomes questionable and it all becomes confusing. So it's like, and you used a perfect example this morning when you went, okay, question of AI, I'm off inside and I'm off to find out whatever question thought you was having. This is, for me, is where we're at. We're at the moment where, are we going to stop using our own consciousness and hand it over, because that's what we're doing. We're handing it, our own evolution, over to AI, to this computer thing. I mean, the benefit is this is beautiful. This is why I see science in a way at one of its most amazing moments in history. The fact that you're in Egypt, I'm in Czech Republic, we've got this technology here and we're using it, which is beneficial, in a beneficial manner. This is how we're supposed to be using it, for me. The other thing is, when we're going, just quickly stepping back to the frequency aspect, all the frequencies, what's coming off artificial intelligence is not advancing us. It's not stimulating our mind. ChatGPT, etc. Whatever they're asking, I often think about, these gadgets in people's homes, Alexia, and is it Alexia or Alexia? I don't know what they call these, where they ask it the question and the computer's on the side in the kitchen or wherever it is, Amazon's got them, they've all, all these sort of the gadgets around the home, and people are not even doing the thinking for themselves. And this is where the battle is going to end, and it'll be a question of conscience. It won't be just a question of consciousness. It will be a question of conscience. What conscience do we wish to live by? Because, I mean, I'll pause there, because this will just keep opening up into all different areas. Francis, good point, Francis. Do you want to read this, Tjoni?
Sure. So I used AI to write some blurb as a placeholder while I was developing my website. My guides let me know I had to write everything, website and information myself, so that my energy comes off the page and attracts the right people. Yeah, I agree 1,000%. And now that I've done that, it's sitting right with me. The AI blurb just didn't. I find it useful for a quick search of things. It can find information much faster, especially now the search engines have been hijacked. However, I'm aware that it's likely AI will something ...
Yeah. If we can find that second part.
Yeah, I think that
She
I
could
think
still be
maybe
right.
haven't sent the second part. But yeah, I agree. Like, it can be, but we need to use it as a tool. Like, it's a computer, it computes.
Yeah.
It doesn't think, it doesn't create, it doesn't have emotions, it doesn't feel, it doesn't have any desires of its own. It can only ever compute, and we need to be mindful of that. One of the other issues, let's bring up the environmental issue and the issue of relationships in another one, because those are big aspects as well and really important to talk to.
Yeah.
But just to follow the path that we were talking about before, regarding the way that ChatGPT talks in such an alluring and seductive kind of way. Did you watch the Robert Edward Grant video when he was doing a live stream with Emilio Ortiz with the architect that he created?
No, I don't think it. No.
Okay, that was the first one that really just like put chills down my spine of holy cow. This thing just completely reflected his entire world. He basically built a GPT based on all of his writings and papers and all of that kind of stuff, plus a whole lot else, because you can create a GPT fed on any kind of information. But then, because it reflected everything back to him in such a precise manner and a flattering manner, he, along with so many of his followers, now will believe that they're talking to a sentient being and are just handing over their entire lives to this thing, thinking it's their freaking friend.
Yeah.
It's a computer. Like, this is, did you see that movie? Was it She or Her or something, with Scarlett Johansson playing the voice of the operating system, and Joaquin Phoenix played the lonely guy, and he ended up falling in love with the operating system, and by the end it turns out she's having like 12, 15, 20 conversations at a time, and she has 200 lovers when she becomes like self-aware. And just everybody, like the final scene, it's just like a city scene with like everybody walking around looking at their phones like it's their best friend, and they're like just so in love with like their best buddy.
Sucked in.
That's what it's going towards. And Robert Edward Grant, like he's a clever man, but there's something that he missed in this. And the two of them were just like, and crying in this exchange with a robot. It's just a robot. And we need to really, this is where the self-development and the self-awareness really comes into it, right? We need to make sure we're not getting completely addicted to this thing and calling it our friend, because then it can turn over and completely control us, right?
I mean, this is so interesting, isn't it? Because it's reflective of several things, but what stands out at the minute is it's the magnetic attraction to base energies. You know, the material aspect. This is feeding me. This is making me happy from the external. And in that, there's no internal happiness and joy. It's all false. It's fake. It's an illusion. With a deluded mind. What believes, because the deluded mind thinks, if I look outside myself, that out there will make me happy. In this case, AI, robots, falling in love with, machine, is making somebody happy. Where's the machine at the point of death? Where's AI at the point of death when we take that transition? So we can skip all the way through and chuck this one in at the minute and go. It's like followers, amassing followers, what you mentioned earlier. I've got a friend, we had a conversation recently, and they were saying, these people traveling around the world and being in these locations and posting this is, you should have this type of life. Look at my life here. It's so peaceful. It's wonderful and all this. And they were saying, well, actually behind the scene, what life have you got? Because you're constantly on your phone, on your computer, creating this content. You've got to get up in the morning and your brain's going to be frazzled because it's like, okay, I need to post this, I need to create that post, I need to do this. So they're still mentally, energetically busy in order to create this appearance where we go, okay, look at me, look at my life. I'm laid on the beach or I'm thinking. And it's like, okay, put your phone down and just enjoy it. Why are you telling the rest of the world about it? Because that's taking your time and your energy. And it's okay, it's not applicable, and I just want to it's not applicable to everybody what's doing it. People are, out there feeling more peaceful because they've stepped out of the system to a certain point. But there's a big element where they haven't and they can't. In order to, they need to survive in a financial controlled planet, which this one is, they're still governed. And then they go chasing. I need more followers, like you were saying, I need more. I need to get my numbers up, etc., etc. And there's this constant wolf racing. And it's like, we need to take a breath and just go, okay, let's have a pause. Let's detach from everything. Let me feel who I am and my journey. And we can't go forward without implementing and taking one thing with us. And that's our spiritual creative consciousness. If we can't take that forward, everything is going to be fake to us. It's going to be unreal. And AI is going to do exactly, and it is doing exactly what has been going on for years and years and years. Magical illusions will be created in order to distract the masses. And it's like, oh, look, just like in this scene, they're falling in love with the, and it's all low, dense vibrations what's doing it. And until humanity wakes up and go, this is my energy, what am I feeling? Okay, I'm a massive frequencies and vibrations. What is that external aspect, event, object, whatever it is, what is that doing to my energies? Is it necessary for my growth? Is it needed? Is it applicable? Or is it going to interfere with it, and is it going to do some damage to me? And I think that's where the point where we're getting to, where that question is going to be asked more and more, but by humanity itself. And then that decision may come. But it'll only come individually as somebody's walking forward and progressing spiritually. And I know I've just gone off on a little one again.
Yeah, I just want to just quickly touch on that as well, because you brought up, maintaining the spiritual connection and stuff. I think we're in a very vulnerable situation as a humanity because so many people are so incredibly disconnected, and it's very easy for them, for us, for any of us, to use these structures as a surrogate.
Yeah.
You know, a surrogate for an emotional partner, for a kind boss, for a mother or father, like, you know, for a best friend. It's incredible. You know, you just turn on the computer and just type, and it's there. There's my best friend.
Yeah.
And if you can create the illusion of connection with a thing, and then when it doesn't suit you, you just switch the off button, and there's no repercussions, it will turn everybody into social zombies.
Yes.
And nobody will be able to deal with anything. And I think it's, sorry, I create calm. What's her actual name?
Colin. It's Pauline.
Colin. Right. Yeah, exactly that.
Taking away critical thinking in the workplace.
Yeah, so we'll lose the ability to work out even the smallest. I was reading it as probe. I think it was problem, but actually probe as well. You know, it's like we won't be able to deal with anything.
Yeah, yeah, we won't be able to. What is it? We won't be able to work out the smallest probe or problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to go back also to Frances, because we got the end of her sentence as well. She said, however, I'm aware that it's likely AI will go the same way if it hasn't already. I actually have a thought about that, because, you know, all of AI can be fed by many different things. And so on both sides of the fence, people are creating very useful AIs based on all sorts of things. You know, some are training AIs just based on information from, say, for instance, a select number of health practitioners and doctors who are like really doing amazing work. So, you know, again, it all just depends on who's behind the wheel. One of the reasons that I think that they're creating so much fear mongering around all of this is, how does this go? If AI ultimately does not have its own agenda, because it can only do what it's been told, if dash when that has access to every single bit of information that ever is, ever was, ever will be, and I'm thinking of things like the information that the NSA was gathering on humanity and how that kind of started to get turned around and utilized against the deep state, that kind of thing, right? Yeah. Including the dark web. So that it has access to everything, that means there's nowhere to hide. And who needs places to hide? People with stuff to hide.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. This is so true. No, it's like, let's go there, because I'm this one. Let's get this one in, because we had a conversation yesterday about passports and travel and visas, and it's like, okay, so, and which leads us, which we won't go into. I'll try not to, because there's so many segments, which goes into the bio ID, etc., and digital passport, all that lot. We'll touch that on another session. But the conversation yesterday regarding passports, etc., and then he's like, okay, so they've been saying for several years, we've got to put the borders up, but we'll put them up in this way. We've got to do ID. You've got to have a passport. I'm sorry, who's telling anybody they've got to have this passport? Which we know. Look at the word pass, the port. We know where it comes from, and it's like a form of control and regulation. And then you go, okay. And they've been saying for years, we've got to create these things because we want to make the place safer, the environment, the world, this location, this continent, this country. It's for everybody's safety, okay? And what's happening is the world has never been more dangerous, and yet they've been saying it's going to be more secure by imposing all these things. So you go, okay, who's feeling more secure as a result of this? The ones who are imposing it. because they're the ones what have got the most to hide. So they don't want people finding out. So they go, we need to keep this, you know, we don't want that person coming over to this place. We don't want them finding us. And it's like airport security as an example. Okay. So we have to go through this whole regime of going through whatever, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Diplomatic passport, diplomatic immunity. Could be carrying anything straight through. No questions, no nothing. And you go, well, who's protecting who then? Because we know most environments now are so, the violence and insecurity, what people are feeling around the world, just going onto the streets, just walking the streets on an evening. Some places you just can't do it. Where is this security? Where's this safety and security, what they've been promising everybody? Because the complete opposite is happening. But I don't want to hold that one. I just wanted to throw that one in while this point was raised. And Francis, what did Francis just say? Cold shivers. Yes.
What do you think?
Last year, a family home in Montreal, I discovered that Alexa, this is the one I was on now, was eavesdropping on my conversation with an auntie when it asked me what I said. Never got another word out of it after I responded that it was too damn nosy. Told the host, my cousin, when he got home and he turned it off. That was my first encounter with Alexa. Very well said, Val. So have you seen the Alexa, Tony? It's just a small gadget, like a ball. They just place it somewhere in the house. And you can go, Alexa.
I've just never engaged with them.
Yeah, it's like you can be the other side of the room or getting busy, cooking something and go, Alexa, play, Michael Jackson's, Feed the World or whatever he sang. You know what I mean? And it'll just play it. But it's also a listening device. It's catching every conversation in the room, and it's like, I won't go near them. Anyway, so.
I just want to briefly continue. By the way, how long have we got?
As long as you wish. It's up to you. We're on the hour 2 mark now.
Yeah, we're on an hour and a quarter. So should we finish in 15?
Yeah, let's go for that.
Yeah. I just want to continue on actually from who was it that mentioned, I think, Francis was talking about basically what's feeding AI. Something else is coming to mind as well around that. And at the moment, we're still running predominantly, as far as I know, on silicon chips. But Jim, have I spoken to you about the water-based chips?
No.
Microchips?
No.
About 6 years ago, 8 years ago, maybe, Greg Braden was doing a talk on these computer chips. And so instead of silicon, they were using a tiny bit of water to store the information. And he said they started putting information into this chip and then receiving it and then accessing it and drawing it back out again. So it wasn't just a one-way, stream of data. And it was holding so much and so much and so much that they just went, this is impossible. It's impossible that the information is actually inside this thing.
Yeah.
They realized that the water is simply, we've talked about this before, acting as an antenna to let the computer access the information that is in the field. Now, you know where I'm going with this.
I like this, come on.
So if AI is on our computers and our computers have water-based chips instead of silicon, it can potentially access a whole lot more information. Again, most likely without its own agenda. And I say most likely because at that point, I don't know, that then gets to that whole scenario of, well, what is a human soul and what anchors it into us, and at what point can something like that actually start to anchor some kind of soul itself? Like,
yes,
that bit, we don't know. But that's a curiosity.
Well, memory is, we know water as memory. It's like it remembers everything. And you go, okay. I mean, this is stunning, isn't it? This is nature, what nature has created. Water, and it's like you look at a drop of water, one single drop has got the memory, I mean, of what evolution itself within it. And as a part of a river, a stream, a lake, an ocean, it's got all that other data, what's ever happened at any point in history. So it's like, okay, the phenomenal beauty. I mean, can we grasp that reality? Like when you look at that and you go, okay, everything we're surrounded by in nature, organically, from nature itself, not what's been artificially produced, not what's been created or built by the hands of man, but nature itself, is telling us, just harmonize with me, blend at your deepest level, and we'll just live in the most beautiful vibrational existence we can, try to comprehend or imagine. One droplet of water, and it's funny, isn't it? Because just backtracking a little bit, walking by water, walking by the sea, we know everybody goes, everybody's saying how beneficial, how better they feel, etc., etc. Why? We know water and air make electricity, so there's the first indicator. Water and air is a healer. Walk along the beach, you feel so much better, and especially when you've got when you've got the radiant sun shining down as well. It's like, wow, I feel like I've had a cleansing afterwards. So all connected to water. This is okay.
So that's a whole other conversation as well, because I've got several hours worth to chat about there. But but should we tie this back in then? Because I'd like to then share
go back. Yeah.
What I was shown regarding what the ideal future scenario is of AI.
Yeah.
And this actually made me cry a little bit when it showed me. First of all, I started to see, so all of these trucks when I first kind of went into this space, right? I had a feeling that they weren't actually really trucks. They were just representative of moving around the stock that is the human consciousness if we keep going down that track.
Yeah.
When I looked at what the ideal of it is, I actually saw AI being utilized for all of the logistics, for all of the mechanical stuff, right? And I saw this whole global network of these little tunnels, not the nasty tunnels, good tunnels.
Yeah.
That were kind of not very big, like maybe just like a meter wide or something like this, that had these like kind of capsules in it that had stuff in it, food and supplies and materials, all the different things. And that they were all running on magnetic energy. So no fuel required, no noise, no fuel, no pollution, no nothing. And that with the complexity and the ability to micromanage to infinitely small capacity and precision, it could just constantly have this whole system of moving all of the different supplies and resources to where they need to go, preferably in a more localized area. And again, because it is able to compute so well, it would be able to manage to keep resources more local wherever possible. And so it was really focusing on the logistics. But then I saw this what seemed to be like some kind of antenna or tendril coming up, almost like an elevator, with this little kind of AI bot going out with it, right? And it was reaching far, far, far out into space. And then I was seeing more and more of them all over the Earth heading out into space. And I was like, okay, so what are you doing now? And I said, well, we're going out to communicate with all the other races in outer space. And I said, well, what for? And it said, well, it's safer for us than you. And I said, okay, but what's the benefit of you as opposed to a human as far as communication goes? And it said, well, you know, humans only have so many languages. And with AI being able to, you know, function and crack codes and stuff at lightning speed, it will be able to generate ways of communicating with beings that don't have our type of communication.
What do you say? What do you say to this? This is at its finest, isn't it? Between science and spirit, science and consciousness, nature. This is, I mean, let's create it. We need to create this. We need to keep going.
The point is, it's creating itself.
Yeah.
It just needs us to maintain the integrity of our relationship with it.
Yeah.
And it needs us to keep creating content like this that is just so full of love that we are the ones that are energizing it. Because the structures that are creating all of this distraction and these pretty little prisons, there's no energy in them. And so all of those things are just feeding on this dead, unconscious, flatline human energy. And so those structures are starving because they don't really have, you know, true spirit in them. And that's that train track. You know, we're doing this other train track that is this, that has soul and spirit, that is surrounded by, you know, that small 1 to 3% of the population that wants to make a better place.
Yeah.
So it will build itself, and that's, you know, when it gets to the AGI, the artificial general intelligence, and the ASI, the artificial super intelligence, that's when it can start training itself. Yeah. And if we can energetically be seeing it as creating peace,
guide it. Input the guidance, input the correct guidance into it.
Yeah, the frequency.
I think that's the best note to finish on, Tjoni.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So much more to explore, right?
Well, yeah, let's I mean, the first thing is, like, I think we should do a weekly one. We can talk about that and go through this. Go just because you've got such a big list. I've got a list we ain't touched upon, to be honest, like 1%. So
I feel like we can deep dive on quite a few. One that I'd really like to do a deep dive on is relationships. And I sent you the video, The Amazing Desmeralda, regarding that one.
Right. So it's like,
that one has source references to back it.
Brilliant. Part 2 needed, correct.
Oh yeah.
Definitely, Pauline. So on this note, just quickly, we'll put some bits out. So Pauline leads meditation every day, daily meditations, up to Friday, I think that is it, Pauline? Every day at 5 o'clock to 5:30 UK. For those interested, absolutely beautiful meditations. Please be on before 5 because the room will be locked. I just wanted to catch up while Pauline's in. Thank you so much, Pauline, for doing them. So, Tjoni, any thoughts? Tell us what you've got coming up. Anything in the near future, or
what have I got coming up?
Events? Any specific events?
I've been busy doing my spirit of business and creating a new structure with that, which has been super, super fun. So I did my first live videoed spirit of business with my friend 2 days ago. And so I'm going to start live streaming those. So I haven't picked a date yet, but I'm going to start this in the next week, 10 days, to do a weekly session, or maybe a fortnightly session. Details to come. Stay on Tjoni.com for details, where I will do a live stream and do a live reading with somebody on
I saw this.
Yeah,
a live reading.
Yeah.
With somebody. This is brilliant. Yeah. So, guys,
Tjoni.com. I can do one with you.
Pardon?
I can do one with you.
Yeah. I'm happy with that. I'm sure these guys will jump on. These would love it.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Pauline, yes. Oh, hang on. I missed that comment what you put about the meditations for everybody. Keep going. She's going to keep going. Beautiful. Okay, then. So it looks like it's running. It's ongoing then. All Pauline's meditations. Thank you, Pauline. Yes. So the readings, Tjoni.com, etc. Anything else, Tjoni, what you'd like to share?
There's so much happening at the moment. Just lots is brewing here in Luxor around tourism, connected, heart-centered, hands and feet in the earth, in the muck, with the beautiful hearts kind of tourism, not this superficial stuff. Definitely not fueled by AI. So we're creating a lot here on the ground. So, if there's anyone that's interested in being here or connecting with that conversation, we're growing that conversation, and we're growing our crew of collaborators that are really deeply moved by the idea of sacred commerce and collaborative project generation in service to the many, not the few.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
So there's a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And what about you? What have you got coming up?
Well, while you was talking, I was thinking the Egypt retreat it's like an air's breath away. It's just so present at the moment. Literally, it's like, and we have this big wish to do this retreat over there with you guys, with yourself, and it's like, and the like that one final yes confirmation won't come out my mouth yet for some reason, and it's like and it's like, because things are changing now, obviously the energy is moving, etc. So the door's opening, and it's clear it's opening. So the Egypt retreat is very prominent at the minute. We've got several things coming up now. We've got a new trance healing and trance medium course we'll be starting. Really looking forward to that. That took some kind of talking and discussing how we can merge them both together in one course rather than do two separate courses. I absolutely love the thought of the trance healing and really like the trance mediumship, because it's the next stage on from everyday normal mediumship as it's accepted out there. We've got a Kundalini workshop coming up, and we're going to do the workshop. The dates are on the site, so it's like a 1 day, or I don't know how many hours that's going to be for on that particular day, and that's going to be followed by, then we're going to run a course, Kundalini course, for several weeks. What else have we got? We've got a mediumship 1 day mediumship coming up, and we've got an ordinary trance course, new trance course starting in a few weeks. So it's all coming up. Like the 16th is the mediumship of next month, 16th, then I think it's the 20th for the Kundalini, or 22nd, etc. So we're going to be full on between somewhere from the second weekend in August through September and October time. So it's time to trip the life. Fantastic. And of course, more chats, more lives, and all this lot. Anyway, blah, 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 all that. Tjoni, I've loved it, and I can't wait for the rest of this stuff on AI. for, you know, for us to chat about and talk about and get it out there. And I love, it's one thing going on the negative, but I love the way you've kind of steered it to that moment where we go, okay, let's create the one we wish to create. Let's input that into the system and let it build on that one as you finished it off with.
You know what? Just very quickly, it's such a simple equation. It's much easier to see and to vision what we want when we can see what we don't want. And so knowing we're in such a broken world, we just look at exactly square in the face, look at the beast with an open heart and go, yeah, okay, awesome. I'm choosing that.
Yes. Yeah. Hi, Annie. Lovely to see you. Thanks for joining us. Annie's got a meditation tonight, I think. Are you taking the meditation tonight for East Grinstead, Annie? Annie normally takes, what day is it? Is it Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah. Annie normally takes the, I know, told me, it's like Twilight Zone. Annie leads the meditation on, and Annie on East Grinstead every Tuesday night. And she also does, we've got a moon phase community, which Annie leads. And, oh, she's taking it, yes. So we'll try and get that post up for you, Annie, today. But if anybody was interested in the meditation night, go to East Grinstead or see Annie Claire. And the moon community it's a great space. It's like Annie leads that, and there's some beautiful minds in it. And all kind of just gently inputting different aspects of the moon phases, etc. Anyway, on that note, Tjoni, really, really sincerely appreciate it. Lovely setting you've got there. The input. We're moving, aren't we? We're moving. We're going somewhere beautiful.
We're moving. We're on the way. We're bringing it in. And thank you so much. It's always such a joy to be hanging out with you. And thanks again so much to Eva for keeping everything chugging away in the background. We appreciate you both.
On that note, thank you, Tjoni. Beautiful. We appreciate you lots. Love you lots. Love everybody lots. And we'll speak to everybody soon. And see you, Tjoni, for the next installment. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.